How's it going? Adam Drake, and today I want to talk a little bit about turn marshaling. Kind of some of the fundamentals, things that I think are really important that sometimes get overlooked. Let's face it, with 8-scale cars, they have a lot of power, they're heavy, and they can hurt you if you're not paying attention when turn marshaling. So first and foremost, when turn marshaling, I feel it's always super important to always look at oncoming traffic. You should never turn your back to oncoming traffic. Sometimes that can be difficult, especially if you're in a tricky situation or spot of the track where you kind of have multiple corners or angles that you're trying to look out for. But let's face it, first and foremost, we want to make sure that the turn marshals stay safe, and you got to always make sure you're, again, paying attention to oncoming traffic. What else do we have here on the list? So always look up track. Another thing, always turn marshal the way you want to be turn marshaled. Sometimes you'll see guys out there, they're on their phone checking their race result from the previous heat. They're vaping, smoking, have a drink in their hand. I don't think that's how any of us would want to be turn marshaled, so let's try to do a good job and turn marshal the way we would want to be turn marshaled ourselves. Again, just do your best. It's some of us are more athletic than others, but again, if you just do your best, it's equal and fair for everyone. Always make sure, especially with nitro cars, you never want to grab the cars from the side, especially on the exhaust side. Not only can it hurt the marshal, it can also kind of snuff the pipe or kill the engine. Also be careful, make sure not to grab the tires. A lot of guys like to rev the engine to get turn marshal's attention. If you go to grab it by the tires, if they happen to rev the engine, again, can hurt yourself. It's always ideal if you can grab the car from front to back. That's kind of the safest spot. When you turn marshal, you always want to make sure that when you put the car back on the track, it's going in the proper direction. You never want to kind of throw a car in the wrong direction. Also, when putting the car back on the track, make sure that you pay attention to oncoming traffic. Just because the person who flipped over has already lost time, you don't want to then cause someone else to lose time because of them being thrown back out into traffic. Another thing that's kind of a pet peeve of mine with turn marshaling, of course, we all need help at some time, especially if we have back-to-back races. I always try to make it a point to turn marshal for myself. I'll get people that I'll ask to volunteer. Unless I'm really in a jam, I try to do it myself. But a lot of times I'll see guys either pay turn marshals or they'll have their dad's turn marshal. That's great that people are wanting and willing to help. But I feel like if you're going to have someone turn marshal for you, whether it's a paid turn marshal or your dad, they should have at least your same or equal to your athletic ability. Because again, let's face it, if you're a mid 20-year-old kid and you're in great shape and your dad's 65 years old, who would you want turn marshaling you? The younger, more athletic person or the older person? If your dad just likes to marshal and volunteer, then that's great. I think it's good to allow him to volunteer, but out of fairness to your competitors, if you're able and willing, I think you should turn marshal for yourself. Kind of the same thing with a lot of the hired turn marshals. Don't get me wrong, turn marshaling is not fun, but it is a part of your racing. And if you're hiring someone that just maybe doesn't do a good job, likes to overbook, and I mean, it's so frustrating at some of these races, the amount of time that is wasted waiting on turn marshals. So if you can put your stuff down and get out and turn marshal in a timely manner, it just makes the program smoother for all of us. We then get we either get more track time or we get out of there sooner. What else do I have for turn marshaling? I guess that's about it. Just mainly pay attention at all times. Again, you know, safety is very important. You want to try your best, but you also don't want to run out and pull something or twist something or step on another car that is still racing. And again, just be safe when you're out there turn marshaling.